Confucianism is one religious system that does not have any gods, despite the fact that many Western intellectuals frequently identify religions with gods or otherworldly beings. Though it emphasizes developing a strong character and behaving morally in every circumstance, its adherents neither obey divine precepts nor have they elevated Confucius to the status of a god. Rather, his contemporary disciples revere him as a spirit and use his teachings as a moral code for conducting themselves in public life. Don't forget to subscribe to Ancient History for fascinating insights into the mysteries of the ancient world and captivating historical narratives. Confucianism quickly expanded throughout China, Japan, and the rest of Asia despite the absence of gods or other supernatural myths, having an impact on the continent's evolution from prehistoric times to the present. Confucianism is recognized as one of the many important factors that have shaped China's history today. Confucianism, which dates back to the Zhou dynasty, had an influence on Chinese history since politics and culture adopted the philosophy. Confucianism, with its emphasis on selflessness and deference to authority, was well liked by common people. But it wasn't until roughly 200 years after Confucius's passing that it gained traction among the ruling class. Since then, it has emerged as one of China's most well-known concepts, having an effect on the rest of the globe as the nation grows more intent on international politics. Despite having a difficult existence, Confucius, the originator of Confucianism, lived from 551 BCE to 479 BCE. Confucius's family has always been involved in the government, but by the time he was born, their position of money and influence had declined. As a result, Confucius was forced to accept smaller jobs with nearby clans rather than trying to join the national government. In addition to seeking a monarch open to receiving his influence and wisdom, he started considering bringing about global justice. Even while it would sound idealistic to some today, during that time, Confucius and other lowly socioeconomic classes could still make a big difference in the world by getting the ear of a monarch. They would use their influence to promote moral principles like integrity and nobility, which might have an effect on the advancement of the country. Regretfully, Confucius was never able to persuade a king to follow his advice or embrace his ideas of a morally upright administration. He was troubled by his lack of a stable work because it left him without financial security and made him feel as though he was not making the most of his abilities to improve the world. Confucius did make pupils in spite of his travel and worries. These disciples came from a wide range of backgrounds, from nobles to outlaws. The majority of them were young men seeking to acquire skills for official professions, but they also got instruction in morality, political shrewdness, and gentlemanly conduct. Confucius eventually made his way back to Lu after 14 fruitless years. By then, he had reached an advanced age when the ruler of the state and his counselors might consult him as an elder. Confucius persisted in imparting moral lessons to others and made an effort to direct his pupils toward a moral lifestyle. Confucianism, which outlived its founder and attained heights of influence Confucius could only have imagined, was shaped in large part by his teachings. Since Confucius believed that all important relationships, including friendships, must have a hierarchy, many Confucian principles center on treating those who are higher up in the hierarchy with respect, and treating those in lower positions with kindness. Respecting authority therefore meant honoring one's spouse, parents, and friends in addition to the emperor. This philosophy's most important component is ren, which is best translated as virtue or benevolence. Confucius concentrated on developing his students into well-mannered gentlemen who always acted in the best interests of others. This emphasis still serves as a major motivator for the concept today, urging everyone to behave politely and considerately toward others while staying within the parameters of their social status. Confucius's philosophy would not have a major influence during his lifetime, despite the fact that it would later mold Chinese civilization. It was not until the Han period that Confucius's views would fully leave their mark. Confucianism gained popularity among the common people, but it took a long time for the nobles to adopt it. Mencius was among those who contributed to the dissemination of Confucianism and its repackaging so that the aristocracy could understand the philosophy's use in politics. He was regarded as the second sage after Confucius and lived from approximately 372 to 289 BCE. Mencius emphasized that cultivating scholar officials would assist the government in the long run, even if those individuals were not directly involved in trade or agriculture, which helped make Confucianism applicable to feudal lords and other rulers. Following his refutation of individualism and collectivism, Mencius extended his theories to the field of profits. According to him, the state's citizens were more significant than its king, and they had the authority to remove the monarch and install a new one if they felt that the current one was not doing a good job of leading the country. Though this theory is considerably older than the Enlightenment, which was a time of revolutionary thought and political conversation in Western culture in the 1700s, you may be familiar with the idea that the people are in charge. You might be surprised by other thoughts that Mencius had. Additionally, he maintained that feudal lords might best safeguard their money and authority by cultivating connections with their officers, ministers, and the broader public. By doing this, the public and the monarch would become more unified, enabling the king to treat his subjects with kindness and the subjects to treat their ruler with deference. According to him, establishing a connection between the populace and the government would both satisfy the demands of the people and enhance the authority of the ruler, as people generally need to feel linked to others. One of Mencius's opponents vehemently argued that humans were naturally good, despite the fact that Mencius adapted Confucianism to the political environment. Shunxi said that rather than virtue or self-improvement, people were more concerned with their own enjoyment and innate evilness. Shunxi believed that people required clear authority and social restraints, ideas that the Chinese governments of the time clung to. As an authoritarian government based on the legalist doctrine, the Qin dynasty actually adopted an even more radical attitude. It lasted only a few years before collapsing due to political and military pressure. When the Han dynasty started in 206 BCE, its forefathers recognized the potential of Confucianism to guide the expanding Chinese country and preserve their own authority. Though it took time for Confucian ideas to influence Han politics, leaders such as Emperor Gaozu discovered that a nation's political stability depended on its emphasis on moral leadership. He appointed those who had battled with him to build the Han dynasty, such as Cao Shen. Because Cao Shen respected Confucian principles as well, he assisted the emperor in choosing administrators based on their integrity, deference to higher authority, and skill in a variety of roles. Emperor Gaozu prepared the Han dynasty to experience the golden age of ancient China with his legislative reforms, which included tax cuts for peasants. By 141 BCE, when Emperor Wu Di ascended the throne, Confucianism had become ingrained in Chinese political culture. After the political and judicial branches were split off, the legal system came to be more concerned with establishing and upholding social norms. Monarch Wu Di was the first Chinese monarch to declare Confucianism to be a state cult and an officially acknowledged ideology, despite all of the changes that had occurred during the Han dynasty. Confucianism had now become an enduring part of China's legacy. Eventually, Confucius's focus on deference to elders and authoritative figures affected the basic fabric of Chinese society, especially after the Han dynasty turned Confucianism into an imperial philosophy. Confucius aimed to teach his pupils how to live virtuous lives and be genuine gentlemen. Long after the Han dynasty collapsed, Confucianism nevertheless remained influential in Chinese politics and culture. Confucianism was an ideology that many emperors utilized to establish administrative hierarchies and safeguard their own authority. The legal code combined the criminal and civil codes using this philosophy. Confucius believed that morality and business were related, which is why rules were put in place to control a wide range of activities, such as marriage, religious ceremonies, and even building. The Great Qing Legal Code makes this relationship between Confucianism and Chinese law clearer, but the notion that individuals require rules in order to know how to live is still quite powerful. In fact, Confucianism was not limited to the emperor's use for personal gain. Over the years, numerous uprisings and political factions have claimed to adhere to Confucianism, even during their times of rebellion against the emperors. Confucianism is the source of Chinese culture's enduring principles of respecting elders and ancestors, as well as close family ties. It has also resulted in a persistent emphasis on self-improvement and education, which were two of Confucius's guiding interests. All things considered, Confucianism has had a profound influence on Chinese culture and its heritage. Important components of contemporary Chinese culture include the traditional emphasis on ancestor worship, deference to authoritative persons, and collective focus rather than individual attention. China's culture and legacy will endure as it works with other world leaders and expands its influence, ensuring that Confucius's contributions are not in vain. That's all for this video. We'll be back soon with another informative video. Don't forget to like and share this video. To keep exploring ancient history together, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Until next time!